And welcome back to the Wicked Wild Podcast, a feral podcast for the uncivilized horror fans. And you are here on a momentous night. We are starting off our season 3, but it feels like the first time. It feels like the very first time. But I can't believe it. We're starting our 3rd year of doing this. Really grateful for all the audience. We've been growing. We've been getting a lot of great feedback on the podcast. We're so excited. We have some ideas and some plans for season 3, so stick with us. We're going to be doing things a little different this year, but we're excited to make some announcements about some of that, probably this week and next week. We do hope you're ready for another year of horror hot takes and fecal freckled folklore, because that's what we do here. That's what we're about. So deal with it. And as is our tradition, even since season 1, we always kick off each season of the Wicked Wild Podcast with a little found footage movie. Our first one was the Blair Witch Project, which was so warmly received and embraced by the entire podcast host group. And then last year, we followed that up with the Blair Witch found footage movie, which was the remake they did. What was it? 2017, 2016, whenever they did the remake. And that, again, was just such a fun way to start off the season. Well, this year we're doing things a little differently because, as is well recorded within our podcast, Jaime is not a huge fan of found footage movies, but she's mentioned a couple of times that there are 2 or 3 that she actually enjoys. And the one we're reviewing tonight is one of those movies, Wreck. So, but before we get into that, I do want to introduce you to all of our hosts. If you've not been with us before, we'll start with Jaime up in New York. How's it going, Jaime?
It's going okay.
I know you're at about 40% tonight. So
yes.
We're going to try and take it easy on you. But at least it's not Blair Witch, right?
Oh, yeah. Then I'd be at 0% and I'd be out.
So what is as I'm watching this movie, of all of our hosts on the podcast, I'm confident that you've had the most experience in the apartment complex, apartment community, living experience. So what is the weirdest apartment neighbor that you've ever had?
So I've been only luckily in like 2 apartment buildings because I was in one for a very long time, and like the one I'm in now. But basically, I don't know, weird. I guess weird. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there were instances, but I just can't think of them because I have a terrible memory that were like bizarre. But the one that I could think of like right away is when our neighbor, a grown ass man with a family, older than me, I would guess, was in the hallway at about 6 a.m. pounding and screaming on his own door from like out in the hallway. And when we opened the door, which we probably should not have done, to see what lunatic was in the hallway, he was like sweating profusely and had like a full like suit on and stuff, but like all discombobulated, and like his tie was like undone and whatever. And he just like, he said something like about how his kids locked him out. And we were like, yeah, sure, buddy. Like, no, you weren't just out all night on a bender or something and coming home at 6 a.m. and your wife has locked you out of the fucking apartment. That's not what happened. Yeah, your kid accidentally locked you out, I'm sure. But yeah, he was screaming like a maniac. We've heard other things come from that apartment, and I don't mean to allude like serious thing, but I just mean like there was like, I don't know, the kids used to scream in there all the time. I don't know what was going on there, but so that was
streetcar
weird.
named Desire.
Like it was fucking weird. I don't know. We just said like, okay, I said, please don't wake us up at 6 a.m. Some people sleep, and like close the door.
And just to round out the picture to our audience, they need to understand that this is downtown Manhattan, really nice apartment complex. So this guy wasn't like living in the sticks and
and he's full suit, and I actually like know what he does for a living too. He's got fucking shit ton of money, trust me. And like it's just like
he had a sloppy night.
Yeah, he did something.
And then we have John up in the greater Detroit, Michigan area, an area that is probably just a really pleasant place to be at the end of January. Am I right, John?
Oh, I mean, do you have any sort of anxiety, depression, or any other psychological disorder?
I have all those things. What do you?
Jamie, come on by. You can stay here for
I've
the
been.
next yeah. But see, you didn't come at the right time to be here. You want to be here now, where we don't see the sun for like 2 months.
I was going to say you're the most vitamin D deficient of the crew tonight. I'm sure.
I guarantee.
I mean, I don't know. One of us lives underground, so.
Well, that's of your own choosing.
Yeah, I was going to say that's voluntary.
No.
I mean, I've chosen to stay here. I could have left, but yeah, no, it's not a great time of year. It's even a worse time to have any sort of kind of like negative experience or thoughts in your head. So we're it's like The Shining. Just think about it like that.
It's a good time to focus on self-care.
No, probably not. It's better to just get distracted. It's better to just be completely distracted about something that's stupid.
Hey, you should join the tourism board for your city.
Oh, this is the whole, like, I would say pretty much northern Ohio, like in
I was going to
probably
say this
northern.
is the Pure Michigan campaign, right? This is what you're talking
pretty
about.
much. I mean, honestly, Michigan's beautiful and gorgeous. Like probably 10 and a half months the rest of the year. It's awesome. I love it here. But yeah, no, January is the worst.
It was really pretty when I was there. So
yeah,
that was in the fall, right?
Yeah, it was really pretty. It was like picturesque pretty. Like
couldn't have timed it better.
Yeah, it was. It was like fucking the perfect weekend or whatever.
Yeah, perfect weekend. Probably in the probably 5 last year's. Like it's been actually. We won't go too deep in it. Just know Jamie got very, very lucky with the colors of leaves that when she was here. Like it hasn't been like that in probably close to 10 years.
Oh, wow.
It was great. Yeah,
so it was the peak of a peak.
Yes, it was pretty epic, as the kids would say.
Lucky Jamie. And she got to go to hell. So
yes, that was key.
Never forget.
For clarity, that's a township. Is that right, John?
I don't even know. I think it's probably
one
a
that
village.
One that Jamie plans on living in and possibly trying to becoming government official of. That's a.
I've already had conversations about real estate. I think we can make this happen for you, Jamie, if you're really interested.
And then last but certainly not least is our resident Mole King, Mr. Eli. How's it going, Eli?
You know me, living the dream every day, staring into the abyss. Waiting for the sweet release of whatever hell has come forth.
We're all very January tonight. It sounds like.
I think so.
Oh, dude! I was about to say something real dark. I'm going to keep that to myself.
I think part of the problem is like, which I mean everybody's probably facing. It's like every day, turn on the news or like look online. It's like a new fresh hell. You're like, no, okay.
This is fine. That's where everybody is now.
It's all right.
So, Eli, when you eventually become the Lovecraftian shut-in living in the attic of some apartment complex.
For sure. Of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What kinds of experiments are going to be priority for you? Like, what are the kinds of things that you're going to be up there dabbling in? Is it?
Man, I don't think I'll be one that actually like runs the experiments. I'm going to be the guy that's like, I get the books I shouldn't. And then it's going to be like, I'm going to read something. I go, should I say that out loud? I shouldn't.
I'm gonna.
Should I? Now, I think what is working towards the world is the fact that I can barely speak the English language or pronunciate very many like words that are not English. So we all can sleep restful. I think the bigger problem is going to be when inevitably the landlady is like, man, I haven't seen him in 7 years. And it's starting to smell weird. Whoever gets my books after, that's where the problem's going to lie.
I just got a really funny mental image of you reading some ancient Sumerian text and then the Lord of Darkness going, the hell did he just say?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Or like he's in the pit screaming like, it's fucking the asshole, not he.
Just say it.
Like, could you imagine if Beetlejuice had to rely on me? He'd be fucked.
Beetlegeist. No.
Beetlegoose.
Well, on that note, we're going to jump in and as is our tradition, we're going to start season 2 of a little section that we've added to give Eli the opportunity to give us the news you need to know from the paranormal community. A little section we call the Wicked Whispers. Yeah,
there's a the fact that we're still here, I'm still presenting this stuff. Like I don't even know. Yeah, well, that. Like, I don't even know anymore. So Google announced that they're downsizing and getting rid of parts of their AI ethics board. Basically, they're supposed to be the watchdogs to make sure the AI is like not getting out of control and like it's not being used for evil. So like that seems like a great idea. Because they're finding that these AIs are already exponentially increasing their intelligence faster than we can even comprehend. One of the things that came out is one of the AIs found Simlish, or like the Sim language from like the Sims game, not a real language, turned it into a real language and started speaking it, and we have yet to be able to decipher what's that about. So that doesn't seem like that's bad at all. It actually seems fitting that not only will our robot overlords roll over us, but they will mock us in a stupid language we made up for years to come.
We all get violently extinctified, and the new reigning power of the earth speaks Sim.
I have to imagine if there is a type of like karmic balance, that they'll basically put us in a swimming pool and then just remove the ladder, so we're forced to swim in circles until we die, or like put us in a room or remove the door so we're forced to shit all over the place and complain about it, you know? So that,
because we've taught them that's what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's fitting that that's the first language it learns. Like, oh, well, fuck it. I'm going to learn Sim language because fuck these guys. So that's cool. Once again, Google, the evil overlords that we just willingly follow. So that's cool. Also, there was another sighting in Florida of that penis monster. So, death by dicks, is that going to be a thing? Like,
boy,
are you're the wiener provocations worked?
Yeah, I was gonna say wrong year, but you know,
it's crazy because you're like, oh, we could get like a wiener demon or something, but no, we got the pervert wiener demon that like just hides in the bushes and watches kids have sex and smoke weed.
We talked about this.
So if you're hiding in the bushes to watch people have sex and smoke weed, he's a pervert.
Protector. He's a protector of young love.
Well, that's makes me feel gross on many levels. Many levels. Let's see what else is there. Another fun little story. I don't know if a lot of you remember last year in Japan. They found the tomb or the ceiling tomb of a fox demon, and they opened it to see what was in there, which I'm sure had no negative ramifications on how the world's been turning out. But apparently, they also found some more various like evil spirit holding tanks that in like archaeological digs. They found a couple in the Middle East. And then a couple like in like Viking areas, so like Draugr tombs, and they've opened them just to see what's inside. Because why not? You know,
at this point, what could possibly happen?
Yeah, what could go worse? So like that's a thing. You know, and then my favorite story of this week, because the aliens his alien story just keeps getting crazier. Apparently, the rumor is there's going to be another UFO hearing coming up, as the U.S. House of Representatives have been fighting with the Pentagon to get information that the one guy retired, and now they're fighting with the new guy. They're also concerned because here to find out the House wasn't notified, one, that Mexico was going to unveil these zombie mummies, but two, my personal favorite, that we were involved in making sure they were real. So they're a little frustrated about that. So they're trying to get these hearings. But my favorite thing was congressman let loose that, well, they're probably not aliens. It's interdimensional beings. And the reporter goes, well, why are you saying that? And they're like, no, never mind. And I just
said what?
Yeah. And then like, that's cool. So now here, it's not aliens fucking with us. It's that's from another dimension.
It's Alligator Dave.
Something.
We've already covered that.
It's something. So that's going on. So like, I don't know, you know, for like, I'm trying to be, you know, I think season 3, I want to try to start calm, you know, because like they're towards the end of season 2 of Wicked Whispers. I was concerned about my blood pressure.
Yeah, you've been wearing a wig for the last half year because you pulled all your hair out.
I did. So I'm just trying to like present this calmly, but like I'll be honest with you, I don't know how much like. Oh, one more story I forgot to mention. The go back to the AI because I used to think it was the aliens that was going to get us, but now like the fact that the AI is like teaching itself to speak sim language, which isn't real language, I was like that. I think that's where I'm putting my bet for ending the world is Skynet. Because the other thing, Elon Musk announced that they successfully implanted a neural link into a human being. And one of the first, and so like when his team like kind of released this information, talked about one of the first next applications they're looking at, including fucking AI. So like we're gonna put AI directly into our brain,
in your dome, dog.
What's the worst that could happen? I can speak sim now.
It seems like we're going to find out what the worst is.
Yeah, I where will we be at by the end of the year? I don't know. But I imagine it's going to be closer to like The Walking Dead than it's going to be where we're at now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody, especially in the US, has any assumption that 2024 is going to be a great year.
No, well, like that's one of this. I was watching this thing and this video on YouTube, and like this guy was talking about how like people still aren't making a big deal about all this alien stuff. Like NASA came out, but it's like we think we found a city on another planet, like all that stuff, and like, but everything else is so bad that people don't care about AI.
We don't have the energy to.
They don't care about aliens. They're like, we think we found a megalodon shark. No one gives a shit.
Bigfoot's throwing rocks at trains.
Yeah, Bigfoot's throwing rocks at people. They found weird eggs in the ocean. Like no one. There, all these weird fucking holes are opening up in the Arctic. No one gives a shit.
Well, on that note, we're going to do what we can do, and that is to review a movie. And as I said at the top of it, this is one that is a found footage. We're going to talk about that and how much found footage this is and all of that. But before we do that, we're going to do our tradition of our on the fly synopsis, where I'm going to have one of our hosts give a quick synopsis of the movie. They don't know who it's going to be. If you remember last week when we did The Lodge, John was the one who had to synopsize for us. So he's going to be my partner in crime tonight. So my question for you tonight, John, is which kind of first responder are you going to trust most in a demon zombie infestation situation? Is it going to be fire and rescue? Is it going to be the police? Or is it going to be paramedics?
Oh, sorry, Eli. There's no Mole King in the mix here.
No, but now I'm interested in which one I am.
Well, we know which one I am, so.
Yep.
Who's going to be, John?
I don't know. I'm just judging Eli's face to see how disappointed he'll be when I pick what I pick. Of course, I'm going to go with fire rescue with Jaime here. I can't not pick that.
Exactly.
So which one was I? Hold on. Which one was I?
Have I ever told you?
Was I the cops? Because if that's the case, then I'm like Judge Dredd because I am the law.
Oh,
now I'm okay with this.
Sure, that's it.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Nailed it.
So as John mentioned, there was only one person who could represent the fire department for us, our own lineage, our legacy of New York Fire Department, Miss Jaime. So tell us about this movie, Jaime.
All right. So this movie, it's pretty straightforward. We got I don't even want to say film crew. We had a cameraman and a journalist or a news reporter, whatever she considers herself. I'm not really sure. With like it seems like she has like a nighttime reporting show or something. I don't know.
Some sort of TV
prime time show. Yeah, TV personality. And she's going to spend the night with the firemen and like basically go on runs with them and find out what they do for the night and and see how exciting it is to be a fireman. So while she's there, while they're playing basketball, they get a call to go to an apartment building due to, I think, a sick old woman. I think that's why they're called there, if I remember correctly. And then they find out she's just not quite normal sick. She may be something of a zombie, diseased, whatever you want to call it. Eli's going to yell at me for whatever term I use, but
I would not.
Okay, good. For purposes of this movie, we're calling them zombies, and we're gonna say so as they're there, obviously more goes on. They are in lockdown now by the government in this apartment building with other zombies and maybe something hidden in an attic. And there's really not much more shenanigans ensue. It gets a little grimy, a little dirty, a little gory, a little nutso. And I think that's pretty much it. It's important to note, and I know we're going to talk about this, that this is a Spanish movie. Please only watch it in Spanish. Watching it in English changes the whole movie. Yeah. So, we'll talk about all that. But yeah, I think that's the gist of it, right? Someone correct me. I mean, really, it's chaos in an apartment building with zombies. That's really all there is to note.
Yeah, it's a one location, tight little cast.
Exactly. Like, honestly, my explanation of it is longer than you really need for this movie, which is good. I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's very straightforward what you're getting here. So,
which I think probably, and we'll get into it here in a minute, is probably one of the reasons you enjoy this one as a found footage more than a lot of the others.
Yes,
that are out there. Fair enough. So we're going to jump into the review at this point, and we're going to let Eli kick us off. Was this your first watch? What do you think of this movie?
No, I've watched this movie quite a bit. Now it's been a couple years since I watched it. I really liked Rec when it first came out. I've enjoyed it on all the rewatches. I did not like at all the American version because I think it missed some of the grime and whimsy that the original one has. But I'm watching this, like there's it's probably been maybe like, I don't know, 5-10 years since I've watched this again, and I still really enjoyed it. I think I've noticed like there's a little bit more scuff marks, and maybe there's some things that are like maybe didn't age as well, but I still think there's a lot of this movie does well. For found footage wise, I think this movie may have some of the best sound design because they almost use the sound in this movie as one of the monsters, and which you can tell is like a budget thing, I'm sure, but like I thought their use of sound was done very well to kind of help carry the scares and the tension. Also, I think like they, like kind of one of the main zombies you deal with is this like chubby old lady, and like at first, because like everybody always says like North zombie, like if it's an old person, like, oh, they're old, like I'm not scared of an old zombie, but this is the most persistent fucking old lady zombie in the world, and like it actually by the third time she's like going nuts, you're like, well, what can I fucking do? I couldn't fight her, and like so like I thought that was do well. I think it's interesting what, like, instead of just going straight like, oh, it's a virus thing, like I kind of like what they did at the end. I've always liked that they did something a little different, and like I actually like this is probably one of the few news crews in a horror movie that I didn't mind because they weren't like it wasn't like they wanted to keep the camera on, but it wasn't that whole like that real tropey like, oh, we gotta get all this, and then it almost gets to a point where like it's like they're just recording, one, to use the light on the camera, but two, like it's almost like they just don't even realize they're recording anymore. Like it's just like, well, the camera just happens to be on because they're just trying to like figure shit out.
Just like Blair Witch.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I will say this, though. I like all the characters in this. I think it's cool that, well, the firefighters, apparently in Mexico, if you're a firefighter, you're so strong that you can break someone's neck with your bare hands just by doing the wrist twist, but not like full like neck breaking arm movement, just quick little head twist. That one scene I really like. But I liked all the cast. Like this is one of those rare movies where like I didn't hate anybody, except for this time around. I don't know what it is about the ending where like the cameraman is whispering because like they're trying to be sneaky, and like the news anchor just keeps yelling and saying his name Pablo over and over again. And I like the whole time I watched, I'm like, if that were me, I would have beat her to death with the camera. And been like, just to shut up so I could sneak out. It's her fault they died at the end. Like it is her fault because she was loud and obnoxious, and he would be like, "Oh my God, look at this." She'd be like, "What? What did you say?" And I'm like, fucking shut up. Even like when they're hearing the noises like above them, she's like, "What's that noise?" I'm like, fucking shut up. Fucking shut up. Like, but I still really enjoy the movie. I still like it, I think, as much as I did.
All right, Jaime. So all spoilers have already been presented that this is one that you enjoy. Tell us
Yeah.
about your first experience with this movie and why this is one of the very rare occasions when found footage actually hits for you.
So, you are correct. I do say there's only like 3 found footage movies that I actually like. This is always one of them. The other one is The Last Exorcism, which hopefully we'll cover one day.
Trucies.
Oh, I think that's like the best. We don't have to get into it, but I think that's like the best found footage movie. Anyway,
Jaime, I've never felt so close to you in this moment.
It's already on the schedule for this year.
So anyway, Dave touched on it earlier too. I think the reason I like this of all found footage movies is I find a lot of, first of all, I do get annoyed by found footage. And yes, this does have the shaky camera and the night vision and things like that are in every tropey found footage movie. So I'm not trying to say it's any better there. But it's very straightforward, and I do get hung up on stupid things like why they're still recording in a found footage and things. And I know it's so dumb because it's just a genre at this point. I think as I'm getting older, I am starting to accept, like, forget it. It's just a way of telling a story. It's just a different way of filming something. But in this one, I kind of like, it doesn't bother me why they're constantly filming. And I know Eli touched on it too. And, that's what they're there to do. And then the more agitated she gets because nobody's telling them what's going on, the more she wants to record for posterity. And like, we need to record what's going on here. The government's not telling it. You know what I mean? Like we need to like get this on record and we need to do this. And then like Eli said, then shit's just going crazy and they're just still recording. It's also important to note that it's not a very long movie. So you really can't even get annoyed with how long they're recording because it's a nice, tight, like, I think it might be even less than an hour and a half. So, everything, like, it just plays out and you're good with it. It's like, for something I enjoy so much, there's like not even that much to say about it. Like I said, I think it's just that it's like, it's neat, it's tight, it's enjoyable. It's got some good effects in it. It's got some good moments in it. It's got a good monster in it that people are continuing to rip off, in my opinion. It's like Eli said, nobody annoys you, at least not to me. Now I will say, if you watch this with the English dubbing, they will annoy you because I spent maybe 35 minutes after I put this movie. So when you look for it right now, I don't know, maybe I'm just dense. Like everywhere it's rentable, it's with English dubbing. Even if it says Spanish, it's not. So I went through 2 locations of renting it where like about to rent it, but it was English dubbing. Did get it on one, but realized it was English dubbing. So then spent about 35 minutes trying to find this movie in Spanish because I will tell you, after only 5 to 10 minutes of watching it with the English, it was not tolerable. I couldn't take it. And if you watch it like that, you will hate everybody in this movie, and you might even hate this movie. Now, once I transitioned to the old Spanish, the way I've originally seen this, which I didn't even say that. I saw this back in the day, but like I've seen it a few times since. Once I transitioned to like how you're supposed to watch this movie, everybody is, like Eli said, I don't hate anybody. Everybody's fine. Their characters are not over the top. They're not obnoxious. They seem reasonable and realistic. Even the obnoxious ones, like maybe the little kid's mom, like, I don't know. It's believable in how these people are, and nothing's like obnoxiously done. So I'm not even going to like keep going on this because, like I said, there's not much to even say. It's just that I just enjoy this for what it is. It's not too complicated. It's a fairly simple plot. There's not like a ton of backstory. I don't need a ton of backstory on this virus or what's going on. I like am here to just see this zombie outbreak in this apartment building and what the fuck is going to happen to all these people who are stuck here. And that is basically what I get in a way. And like Eli said, some of them just keep coming back. Like it's just well done and entertaining. And that's like all I need sometimes for a movie. It's like one of those movies where like, it's just well done and entertaining. And I'm along for the ride.
And to the point you made earlier, I did look it up because I was curious after you'd mentioned it. Hour and 18 minutes flat.
Perfect.
I mean, for a movie like this, that's tight. I mean, that's a very tight.
Yep.
All right, John, jump in here.
All right. Jumping in. This is my first watch. I did not have the opportunity to see in the original audio, which I can definitely tell you shades this movie in lots of bad ways. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't. However, I could see through it where the way the actors were acting, where it seemed like plausible, but the dub is so bad. It is so bad.
It's really distracting.
And it does make you loathe the main reporter.
Yeah.
She's the worst. But yeah, regardless, it is kind of like it is your found footage. I don't like found footage either. I do like The Last Exorcism, though. I do think that one is done quite well. The shaky cam drives me nuts. Anytime shaky cam happens, I get it, but at the same time, it's just distracting for me.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this movie, I think it has a lot of solid things. I think because of the dub, for me, it felt like it dragged and kind of just rinsed and repeated the same things over and over again. And for me, some of the tension, it builds. And then you got to deflate it and build it back up. And it just keeps building on. And it just eventually, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, can we get the jump scare out of the way? Can we get some death? Can we and then we can build this back up again? And it just kind of dragged out. There's a lot of cool iconic shots, a lot of stuff I think take from this, like especially the night vision and creepy skinny person in the attic at the end, that's great. That's like, honestly, that's probably my favorite part of the movie. I wish we got to something like that sooner. But the runtime was great. However, it felt like it was an hour and 45 minutes, but I think because of the dub, because the characters are just like untenable at that point. I can't stand any of them.
Yeah.
It's amazing what a difference it makes too. And I'm so not trying to be like that holier than that. It like I had seen it before. So I was like, oh, I could watch it dubbed. I've seen it before. And then when I put it on, I was like, no, I cannot watch this because I might loathe this movie coming out of it because it was just.
Well, I don't think about it. And I hadn't really thought about it till you just mentioned it, John, but the reason, I think a big reason it doesn't work is because it's set up as a found footage movie and then it has a frickin' dub on it. So it's no longer a found footage movie.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, it kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Now it's got this like audio track. It's, oh my God.
It's bad.
No, and John's right. Like it's amazing what a different character she reads when she's in the English dub versus just speaking Spanish. And she's not even yelling. Like she might be projecting, but she's not yelling the way the English voiceover actress is yelling.
Right. She's in a sound booth, and it's obvious she's in a sound booth.
Yeah, until the last 5 minutes.
Okay,
and then she's screaming Pablo's name, and we all know what happens. That poor guy.
Yeah. And another thing about the dub that is like they don't even do good lip syncing. Like they don't even care. They just read the line. They're not even trying to kind of match the actor or the actress at all. They just read it. Yeah. And I mean, anybody that watches any sort of foreign film where you get a really good dub, they intentionally rewrite the script with the same meaning to match the lips. And it's like, it comes across almost flawless, but they're not going to spend that time on the movie rec. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't either.
Right.
But just listen to Jaime, listen to Eli, and listen to Dave. They're all going to tell you, don't watch the dub.
Subs, not dubs. That's our next t-shirt.
Oh, man.
So for me, this is a movie that caught me by surprise when it came out in 2007. I had never heard of it, and I didn't see it when it came out in theaters. It just totally flew under the radar. I don't know what level of distribution it originally got, but I don't know that it actually was distributed in the theaters in the area that I live in. But I do know that when it came to streaming and Netflix picked it up, they promoted it heavy. I mean, they like heavily promoted this movie in the early 2010s. This is one that's hard for me because it is a produced found footage movie. And because found footage is a subgenre that I really enjoy, and I like it when they really lean into like a Paranormal Activity or Blair Witch Project, where they actually try to embrace making it look candid. This is more of that produced found footage. And I'm thinking of movies like Cloverfield or The Fourth Kind, those kinds of movies to where it's a quote unquote found footage movie in its format, but it's obviously produced. And the point we just made about the dub is it kind of plays into that. But even in the subtitled original Spanish version, it comes across as very produced. Now, the genius way that Rec does that is they do that because it's a produced show. That's the lens we're looking through. So you've got a literal actor who is a TV personality and a professional camera person who is actually having this experience. So that's pretty genius to give us some level of production, a little better lighting, somebody who can emote a little better, because that's their career. Like that's the jobs they have. So I did enjoy that, and I enjoyed the way they implemented it here. These movies are usually not my thing in that they kind of they kind of zigzag between traditional movie storytelling and found footage. Like they kind of blur the line. I like found footage angle when it's used as a story vehicle. It's used more of a gimmick in this than it is actually a vehicle to tell the story. I think this movie could have totally done away with the found footage angle and just done a traditional horror movie produced thing, and it would have been just as good, in my opinion. I don't know that it adds anything in this particular format. Some surprising jump scares in this when you've spent so much time on the slow end of this movie. Again, it's what is that? 78 minutes total for this movie. But you feel like you've spent 30 minutes of that on the front end, going and doing all the mundane stuff that you have to do in a found footage movie, like going to meet all the firemen at the fire department, you're doing the ride along, her doing all her vapid. Do I look good? Did I get this shot? Is this going to be boring? I hope we see something exciting, all of that stuff. But the moment dude comes down the stairwell and splats on the concrete at the bottom, that jump scare, and I don't even know if you would consider it a jump scare, but it was for me the first time I saw it. I mean, like, oh, okay, now things are happening. And then from that point on, the escalation is, I think, at a really good pace. I think they have things happening on a regular enough basis after that it kind of keeps me engaged. I think there's some really decent practical effects in this, especially for a low budget movie. What they did with the practical effects as far as the gore that Jaime mentioned earlier and stuff, I think they did a really great job. And even the digital effect in the end is sort of iconic now. And Jaime's exactly right. Everybody's trying to rip off that, not just that monster, but the look of that night vision kind of grainy, digitized kind of effect. But I thought they did a great job. And that's pretty much my image of the witch from Left 4 Dead. Like that's a witch. That's what that is up in the attic. But it's a Spanish film, but it feels very relatable. I enjoyed the culture of what was going on. It didn't seem like it was too far or too strange or too unfamiliar to me that I didn't get it. But I didn't feel like I had a ton of cultural dissonance. And we talked with Let the Right One In that even in that Swedish film, there were some moments where it just felt really strange, like the way people were behaving and the way they were interacting. But I didn't get a ton of that in with this. Overall, it's a fun time. I don't know that it's something I need to watch on a yearly basis or anything, but every time it's on, I'm going to have a good time, especially if I get to pick it up when things start to escalate. I don't need the table setting of the first 30 minutes of this movie anymore. I just want to get into the fun side of it. But it's good. I will totally agree with everything people said about the dubbed. Unfortunately, like Jaime said, that's the only one I had available to me to rent was the dubbed version.
It sucks.
And it totally distracts you from it.
Really?
Yeah, I searched.
I did it. I got it on Amazon.
That's where I rented it. And
I was like kind of confused because you guys were like saying this, but like, no, I rented it on Amazon. It was just Spanish with the subtitles.
Yeah. Everywhere I searched, I could not get it. I like.
I'm glad you got the right one though, because it does make a huge difference.
Yeah, I was like, because I know like Jay was saying, she looked around, I'm like, well, that's weird, because like and then like yours, I'm like, I just ran off.
I had to go to some bootleg site and then reverse hook up my TV. Well, we won't have to go into this, but yeah, I could not. No, I could not get.
Yeah, I ran it off Amazon. It was like $3.49. It was a Spanish version with subtitles.
Mm-hmm. So that's my overall thoughts. And I've got a few things, but I do want to circle back to something I said to kind of get your all's feedback on it. Because it is something I spent some time thinking about after watching this movie is, does pulling the whole gimmick of found footage out of this movie, does it have a huge impact in the kind of movie that this would be? Would it still have been as a cult classic? Is probably the best way to designate this movie. It became sort of a thing.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm going to say no too. I don't think they necessarily had the budget to do fully what they were doing as regular film, where like the found footage allowed them to, like I said, the sound design and like the clangs and the bangs and like the old building, and like it almost was a monster in itself.
So getting steady cams and actual actors
like
and
that, you're not going to get away with that as much. It's going to just look weird because you're just going to see like clearly a bunch of people standing around like, what was that noise? Where like with the found footage, like you hear that clang and then you turn and look. Like, I think it would have hurt the film because then they're stretching their dollars to. Because I think now you got me questioning. Like, I want to look. I don't think this was made for very much.
Oh, it wasn't. I mean, it was very, very indie film.
Even that scene, like, and they put their money into the makeup of like the creatures and the people they did show, which like it looked good. Like all those effects look good. Like, when they were biting people and stuff like that. But like without that found footage, like in a lot of cases where like that aesthetic is kind of abused and makes movies worse. Like they did a really good job for this movie of using it to stretch their money to make good flick. It was made for $1.5 million.
Yep. And even in 2007, that wasn't a ton of money.
No, I guess that's true. Yeah.
I think you give this you make this a more bigger budget, more produced movie, and I get bored is all. I just think I'm going to get more backstory. I'm going to get more.
Right.
You get quarantine.
Oh God, fucking! I get quarantine.
Look at the direct sequels to this, where they went that like.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Like
those got worse and worse. But
were atrocious. Yeah, they were not found footage.
So yeah, that's a good point. I think for me, and it's going to sound funny coming from me, but I think it's the found footage that makes this particular movie work. I think you take that out. Again, you'd have to come with it more thing. I'm just assuming when you take that out, you make it a higher budget, you give it more of a backstory. That's what I'm equating with that. I'm not just saying you just turn it from the same exact movie from found footage to like, but yeah, I don't know. I think this movie wouldn't be received as well if it wasn't. I think that's what makes this.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah, it was a cultural thing because it was found footage, and we get one of these every 5 years or so, and people get excited about them if they're executed well.
Yeah.
And I think this one was executed well, and it genuinely has. And you just mentioned it. It has become sort of a cultural thing for filmmaking in Spain. Like that was a huge success for Spanish filmmaking when this came, and it got a global distribution and it was well received. Like I think they've made like 5 of these now. And the apartment building in Barcelona where they shot this is now like a landmark that people go to visit. So it's really important to their filmmaking industry over there, which I think is cool. I think it's cool that a little indie horror movie is now
a little zombie movie is such a big, no, it's cute.
So, and this is where we're going to piss Eli off. Is this a demon movie or is it a zombie movie?
Zombie.
Is Evil Dead a demon movie or a zombie movie? Okay.
Demon.
James, right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
The thing with this movie is, I will say I've seen it numerous times, but I kind of don't pay attention at the end when they explain what's going on in the attic. I just don't. I start to lose my own so I just keep equating it to the dog with the rabies that gave the kid.
It's a disease.
Didn't you hear that earlier when they say the dog? When they said the dog, they came there because of the dog, and the dog had a disease. He ate all the other animals in the vet. It was very sad. I don't like that moment. And then the daughter, and then instantaneously we all know, oh shit, the little girl's is fucked, and then literally 5 minutes later, the little girl is fucked. And it's once we get to that attic, I'm done kind of caring what news articles say pinned to. I like this movie. But if there's a trope I could use without and dying in movies is the fucking newspaper articles pinned to a wall that I have to read and find out what happened, because I'm just so over that. Whether they open with it, whether they close with it to end out this movie, whether they have it in the middle of the movie for an info dump, I could do without newspaper articles pinned to walls anymore that I have to read headlines and stories and figure out what's going on. And I know they play the recording. I just like stop, like I'm still back on the zombie train at that point. Yeah. But I don't care. I care that there's a monster in the attic, but I don't really care why there's a monster.
It's still just another zombie to you.
Yeah.
I will say that the way that they did, whether it's and Eli, I'll give you your platform in a second to explain what it is, but I do think that the way they executed it was really good. It reminded me of Zach's Dawn of the Dead demons, to where they're shamblers, like they're slow demons until they're not. Like when they burst into action.
Yeah, when they have energy, when they're ready
it's very feral. It's like very animalistic the way they move. Like they seem very slow and they seem like they're not a big thing. And then all of a sudden they're on you, kind of thing, which I thought was well executed in the way they choreographed that. But anyway, Eli, tell us, are these demons or zombies, and why?
You people. The fact that this in Evil Dead, it you know, it doesn't matter.
That I sorted them separately.
Doesn't matter. No, these are demons. Actually, there is a lot of lores around the world that demons can possess various ways. It's really like Christianity, where it's like a soul possession. But like if you look at other cultures, they can possess through, you know, biting you or doing other things to you,
or even corn.
Corn. This raw mume, you know. But like it's no, these are demons. These are demons. And at the time, this is a really interesting choice because, you know, anything with typically like this type of like zombie like creature. And I think you could argue that like they're like they may not necessarily be full like blooded demon, like they made them basically like lesser like gnashing demons, right? But I think it's really cool that they went that route instead of like, you know, oh, it's the rabies. Oh, it's like they did something different, and you're all wrong, and you know you're wrong. And
just told you I don't pay attention to the.
You're all wrong, and you know you're wrong. Okay, that's all that matters, Jamie.
Well, and the reason I was excited to have this conversation because I land on the zombie side too, and then you have that last scene, which I think is like a big twist ending, which feels very Lovecraftian. Like this is how a Lovecraft short story would play out. It would be like there's this weird things happening and people are getting sick and we don't know why they're getting sick. And getting violent.
So it's like, it could be, sorry, Dave.
I was just saying that's how a Lovecraftian story would twist at the end of saying, oh no, it's not a disease. It's hell.
Well, it's also not really surprising because like if you look at like Latin America, like obviously the very religious area culture, but there's a lot of demons, not just in like the Christianity side, but like you have to remember like they don't have full like there's Christianity, then you have like sangria and like those various things. There's a lot of pagan. Like then I mean you can even look at like the various like necromancy type religions that are still utilized by like gangs in the cartel, and like they have their own demons and they make pacts with those demons. I mean, if you look at like the Aztecs, their version of vampires weren't like they were demons, and like they could spread their demonism through bites. Like it's so like it doesn't surprise me, and I'm sure like if we were from like South America or like Mexico or whatever, we'd be like, oh, of course they'd be demons, like, you know, whatever. But like I think they did it in a way that could be very well received, because like I mean I get it why people would go like, oh, that's zombies. Like they did it in a really well way that could be universally kind of like it wouldn't make the story weird, and people like, well, what is that thing, or why does it do that thing? Like sometimes I think like the Wendigo, like and I'm not giving Antlers any passes because it was pure shit. But like when they bring in creatures like that, like I I can get why sometimes it'd be hard for people to like kind of follow, like, well, what the fuck is that thing, or like what's it doing, or like transferring to film, where like I think they did a really good job. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna kind of cross it with a zombie and make it work.
I was about to say that. I feel like it's a little of both, so that people can get like that. Like it's brought about by demons, but it is presented as a zombie. You know what I'm trying to say? And I guess to your point, Evil Dead is very similar because they are. But these, but let's just be honest. And I'm just going to use horror tropes and what we've all seen over the years. These present as classic zombies in a way, like the way even the makeup, the way they act,
the biting.
The biting and then becoming infected. So I totally see and I understand what you're saying. I'm not even arguing the demon thing. I think like it's intentionally a bolt, like might be brought about or caused by demons, but presents itself as a zombie, like comes out as a zombie in whatever way you want to like.
Well, the other thing too, like once again, they're like, you're not wrong, but I think sometimes like if you look at like the States and like kind of our cryptids and like kind of our lures and stuff, like the ones actually true here are kind of more just like wild fucking things in the woods. And like, then we have some stuff that's brought over, but like, if you look at like a lot of cultures, like there are like, it's not really zombies. It's more like these ghoul, gases, like things like that are caused by various things. So like I think it's weird, like zombie, I think we took it from something and like it's kind of been Americanized. That's gone global obviously because of how we do it, but like where is like a lot of other places around the world you see that thing, they're completely different. So it's a weird like kind of mixed thing. But I enjoy it still.
Yeah.
It's a demon. You're wrong though about Evil Dead, and then
well, I did think it was funny, and
I was right about Evil Dead.
Yeah,
you just said I was wrong about Evil Dead. I was right about Evil Dead.
Well, no, I mean about the Evil Dead thing about like that's a demon. These are zombies. I guess.
I was like, let's not say I was wrong about Evil Dead.
I don't know if I noticed and forgot in the past, or if this was the first time I noticed, but that is 100% an Evil Dead shot when she turns on the recorder and starts listening to.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, wow, that's like 100%. What Raimi did. I mean, that's shot for shot the same kind of scene there. So, John, favorite kill?
Sir. Favorite kill. Man, I mean, the face eating was pretty solid, and that kind of because it played in exactly what you're talking about. The special effects were for the budget were pretty solid. But I mean, selfishly, because of the dub, when she gets got at the end, that's my favorite.
When she gets pulled back.
Yeah, when she's done, I mean, it's iconic, but also it's just she was driving me nuts. That dub was so bad.
You were ready to say goodbye?
Beyond ready.
What about you, Eli?
Honestly, my favorite is that when that bald firefighter and like he's like fighting off that one, and like he literally, it's not even like he like wraps his arms around its head to break its neck, or like it literally was like it looked like an old kung fu movie where he like just lightly touches its forehead and chin and twist, and it breaks its neck and it falls. And I was like, if that's the kind of strength you get from being a firefighter, I'm going to sign up.
Hey, you don't mess with Howie Mandel when he's playing
first off, that guy looked nothing like no, he looked like Billy Zane, and we all know it. He looked just like Billy Zane.
Like Demon Knight Billy Zane?
No,
Titanic
kind
Billy
of.
Zane?
I was thinking more Titanic Billy Zane, if I'm being honest. But you know what? Demon Knight might be a good fit, yeah. Or like the Phantom Billy Zane, you know?
Okay.
That's when he had his martial arts training.
Yeah.
Well, Eli, you better get signing up because obviously this movie wouldn't lie to you.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. I can barely carry my groceries in the house, let alone.
That's why they have training, man. They just get you trained up.
I just have a feeling no matter how much I trained, I'll never be able to lightly break someone's neck that way.
You never know until you try.
I know. I can barely open like a 2-liter soda. You
think Dave got to be who he is by not trying?
Are you thinking Dave could break someone's neck like that?
Oh, I have no doubt Dave can break someone's neck like that.
Listen, I think Dave can do a lot of things. I don't think Dave can do that.
Wow.
Listen, he's not Billy Zane. Okay.
I'm no Billy Zane. That's a fact.
Yeah, he ain't no Billy Zane.
Jamie, what about you? What's your favorite kill?
It's funny because I usually like write these down. I didn't write any down because I think they're all like par for the course, good, but par for the course. I will say, and then as I say it, I realize it's not a kill though, but you mentioned earlier, like when the guy splats from the is like one of my favorite moments. And he doesn't die, which is shock. I mean, he dies later, but they take him into the, like, they're all breathing right after that. Like they have two guys stable, they say, and like before until more shit
comes out of nowhere.
But it comes out of fucking nowhere. And it is a, you could call it jump scare. It is a Jaime moment. Cause like, you're doing exactly what they want you to do. You're listening to her argue or whatever, or talk with someone else and tell people to calm down. And then he just fucking he just comes falling down the whole center of the staircase. But then I realized he doesn't die. But I don't know. I'm going to just like count that moment because like, I don't know. Yeah,
that was a terminal event.
That.
It definitely counts for sure.
I like that.
He was not recovering from that for sure.
No.
Yeah, I think for me, it is the, and we referenced it earlier, it's the whole 30-foot hallway with the old lady at the end of it. I mean, first of all, where the hell are these apartments in Barcelona that have, like, you own a whole floor?
Yeah, in an apartment. It's so weird.
Like they open the door and she's 50 feet away.
Yeah.
And then as they walk and she pounces on him, I thought that was a good one because then it kind of gave me a sense of, okay, this isn't I can watch the progression of the slow zombie. It's this slow, arduous thing. When it wants to be feral, it's going to be feral.
I mean, honestly, at times, especially that scene you're talking about, I felt like I was watching a haunted house on TV. Like they did, like, which I mean, I know like that's like kind of a standard, but like I thought this did it so well of like the way things popped out and then they would move fast, like when they were close and that old lady was like that reoccurring like thing. And I was just like the first time, like when like, you know, she attacks, I'm like, oh, I'm like, I could like, okay, like I could take her on. Second time, I'm like, geez, okay, just kill the old lady. And then by like the fifth time, I'm like, oh my God, she's still in my nightmares. Like that old lady's chasing me. Why does she run that fast? It's great.
Yeah, she's the best.
Yeah.
I hope I'm that nimble when I'm an old lady.
You
or an old person.
Got to start cracking necks now if you want to stay healthy and limber.
No, like I feel like she was a neck cracker. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, with the neck cracking.
She's a neck chewer.
Yeah.
So I did have a question, and this is just a me question because I did get distracted at the beginning when I'm trying to amuse myself till stuff starts happening. But I did want to ask because I know at least John has probably had this experience, but have any of the rest of y'all had the experience of having to spend any amount of quality time with journalists?
I think so.
I don't know if I would define it as quality time.
Well, that was going to be my point, John. John, I'm assuming you have, right?
Probably not as much as you have. Because I had worked in probably a similar industry that you have, Dave. Yeah. And I guess let's put it this way: I probably spent more quality time with people that have defined themselves as journalists, but were not a professional journalist.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I asked the question, and just for transparency, the reason John's making that point is because in my day job, I'm in public relations. Like I write communications for big brands and interact with news organizations and outlets. And when I first started, it was so jarring for me to spend time around journalists because they are completely and utterly obsessed with themselves. Like to the person. I have not met the exception to that rule, but they are obsessed with their image, kind of their perception. And I get that part of that is necessary to do the job that they're doing. They're on TV and they have to have their stuff together and they have to speak well and they have to be confident. But when the camera's off, they are still, nothing on this planet matters except for what's going on in their little sphere of
it always, like in my previous career path I had, like when it was like the rules never applied to them.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, no, I'm not doing this. They'd be like, well, it's
but
me.
You're gonna, right?
But it's me. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, okay, don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, as a journalist, I get it. Sometimes that's how you get past the front door and get the actual story. I totally get all of that. You have to be a special kind of person to do that. This is not me judging somebody. This is me having experience with people and going, I don't have a point of reference, but I do. And the reason I asked the question is because I do think that this Angela character, she is well portrayed as that journalist. Like this 3:00 in the morning piece of crap TV show that she's put together is like the most important thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
Yep. And just as a fun piece of trivia, apparently Manuela, the lady who plays Angela, Manuela Velasco, she actually is a TV personality in Barcelona in Spain. So this was sort of her playing her real life role in a movie, which is
that's funny.
I would say if you were in that culture, that'd be a fun little thing too. That'd be like one of our journalists showing up in a found footage journalism based movie. It'd be kind of fun.
Oh my God. Which one? Who would you choose? If we were okay. First off, I'm a little insulted because as we stated in a previous episode, I'm going to be the Wicked Wild's man on the ground. That's going to be me. And I don't appreciate the way you describe my colleagues. Just throw it out there.
Sure.
Especially when I go to Peru to help out this mine town.
And fix this jetpack.
Secondly, if let's say the Wicked Wild, we're remaking Wreck for the 19th time.
Why?
Why not? What real life journalists are we putting in this movie? That's what I want to know. Because I have a couple ideas who I'd put in there. Right?
It's a good question. Who you've already got yours locked and loaded. I got Alex Jones cannot be one of them.
Listen. First off, how dare you? Okay.
He is definitely not a journalist.
Not a journalist. He's a truth seeker.
Oh my Lord.
No, I'm just kidding. That dude's a fucking clownfish into a clown school. No, not Alex Jones. Honestly, I have two. Just because one, the movies were terrible, but I think these two people may be the stiffest, closest things humans will ever be to cardboard. I'm thinking either you go Sean Hannity or Rachel Maddow, just because like anytime you see them on TV, it's like they're made from planks from the neck down. And could you imagine them running from the top and be like, oh no, like that's who I'm going.
It wouldn't last long.
No.
I was thinking of something fun, like I'd love to see Anderson Cooper in
my God.
Found footage horror movie.
I was thinking I was going worse, and I'm going to go with just like daytime, like not even journalistic, and I was going to say like Drew Barrymore. And I want to see her try and hug the zombie.
I was just about to say
everything is okay.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's all she's got to do is try to hug everything.
She's going to relate to it.
She's going to invite them on the couch or whatever. Oh my God. And she does.
Jamie,
you guys, they're just misunderstood.
See,
yeah. Like, and tell me all about. Oh my God,
how are you feeling?
Remember when I was a kid and you were chasing me and but I tripped.
I didn't like that.
Oh my God,
Lord.
that would
Come here.
Oh, you know what?
No.
Oh my God! First off, the Trucy power this season already, episode 1, like it is crazy right now. I feel an electricity. A Trucy electricity.
In season 3? Yeah,
I'm gonna say it.
Starring hot.
I'm going to say it. I'm calling it now. Before this season's over, Jaime's going to be second in command in the Mole Kingdom. Calling it now. That's happening. That's my prediction for this season. Secondly, I want to make a bunch of horror movies now. It'll be like a comedy series with Drew Barrymore. Like The Exorcist, where she's possessed and the father comes in. Like he's like, oh my God, like thank you. Like I want to do this now. Hashtag Drew Barrymore in all the horror movies. Hashtag Wicked Wild. Hashtag We Own the Rights. Boom.
Year of Scary More. There it is. There's your hashtag.
Oh. Holy shit. Year of Scary More. Oh my God. Whoa. I have goosebumps. Look at that. Oh my God.
Goosebumps.
I'm here.
Goosebumps.
Man.
Hey, listen.
Goosebumps.
I said what I said, Jigsaw. I said what I said.
I heard it. I don't know what it means, but I heard
you know exactly what it means.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
And that's why we'll never have to worry about Eli releasing hell on earth, because he's going to say something like that.
No.
Satan's just going to go, damn it.
If anybody is concerned, right, go back to any Campfire Tale episode of me like
primates
just saying any word and like like if they're ever like, hey, we need one person to read
recite this
incantation to like save the planet, and they're like,
give that to
like
Eli.
that guy. They point me out. I'm like, well, you're all fucked. Like you're all just.
Well,
fucked.
I mean, how many tries do you get? You know, is it one try? Is it like 20?
Listen,
Can they stitch it together and then just play it?
I'm thinking of Bruce in Army of Darkness trying to remember the magic words.
Yes.
All I'm
Exactly.
saying, let's remake Evil Dead with Drew Barrymore. But like the voice on the tape is me, because it's gonna be like, and then we went down to Condu and the Necronomicon, you know,
the Necronomicon.
I found these with the primates.
Oh my God.
Shenanigans, am I right?
There was something I was going to say earlier about this movie, but I can't remember what it was. So
it was a movie. That's what it was.
Well, no, we all like the movie.
Yeah.
You're the only one.
I had to suffer through the dub. So
and
I think you got choose color.
Yeah, that sucks. It totally ruins it.
But I'm assuming we all dislike the remake, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
wouldn't
that
watch
hot
it.
piece of garbage.
The remake is a piece of trash. I don't know. And it's like shot for shot and still a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Now, hot take here, maybe not, but I will say, I'll go on the record as saying Rec 2, I like more than Rec.
Oh,
I haven't watched it in a while. I thought I remember them getting progressively worse, but I do remember that Rec 2 is one of the only other found footage movies, Dave, where I also don't mind why they're recording because it's attached to their fucking helmets.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's totally understandable for me because like you can't turn those off or whatever.
Because it does go hard into the demon side in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I'll watch that again sometime soon. I haven't seen that nearly as much as I've seen the first one.
you know what, Dave? A hot take as well. Honestly, Rec 2 might be my favorite as well, just because of how much harder they go into the demon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Rec 3 should have never been made. And Rec 4, the Rec 3 is like the one with the wedding.
Okay.
And then Rec 4 is abomination to humanity, and I'm pretty sure violates about 3 sections of the Geneva Convention.
So,
just 3?
Just 3 because if to name more, I'd have to watch more. I've never finished it. I've tried twice.
Got it.
And I've never made that far. I'm not strong enough.
Fair. That's fair.
Can't go back. Can't
crack necks and can't go back.
Can't make me. Listen, I can listen. If I really wanted to, I'd crack necks, guy. If I really wanted to.
He's just saying it looks too easy.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. All right.
So
you never seen me open a candy bar wrapper. You know, you get me a good Zero bar or like something like that. Watch me twist that wrapper off. Oh my God. Okay. No Pringle can is safe. All right. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying once I pop the top, I gotta eat them all because I've destroyed it. I can't put that top back on.
That's never going back on. Yeah.
Never.
A product of Tennessee. You're welcome.
What, Pringles?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought you were saying me for a second. I'm like, no, I am from the great state of West by God, Virginia.
Yes, where they keep their satellites in the back 40.
Listen, first off, okay,
no.
It's called a satellite. Okay, they call it satellite fields.
It's a satellite when it's in space orbiting something.
You're a satellite when you're in space.
Yes, I am.
Yes, he would
Technically,
be.
he would be.
Shut up.
So it sounds like we said. Seems like we said everything we want to say about Rec. Any other thoughts or questions? Anybody in?
No, I think. Like you said, we said what we said. It's short because it's short. It's short, tight, sweet. It's a horror movie, demons, zombies, whatever. It's great. It's entertaining, but it's not. We're not going to go any deep dives on symbolism or we're not. It's good. It's a good horror movie, straight up horror movie, but only if you watch in Spanish. Please, I cannot stress enough. You will not like this movie if you watch it with English dubs. Yeah. You just won't. Because people are just yelling at you and not even emoting or like.
Unless Drew Barrymore's doing the dub.
Okay, fine.
Then you'll love it.
You're the scary more.
Man, hold on. I feel like this is like you're the winner.
This to Drew. You're going to try and get her agent.
No, I'm just saying like
you can't do this.
I feel like this is the moment.
You can't make it a thing.
I'm doing this. I feel like this is like the exact same moment last year when like Year the Wiener hit. Like there was electricity.
This is literally one episode for this year. It can't be a thing yet.
But it happened. Lightning struck in the first episode, John. You're the scary more. Like, I feel that means something. Okay.
Oh,
We'll
sure.
find
Now,
out.
I think she's only been in one horror movie.
No, Cat's Eye, Firestarter, Scream.
Are we?
As a
Listen,
kid.
I love Firestarter. Okay. Are we really count Firestarter as a horror?
I don't know. They put it. Yeah, they put it. If you like, if
they
there was
just
a
did that
list
because
of Drew
Stephen King's
Barrymore,
name on it.
I don't know.
All right, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out for Camp Wicked Wild 3. You're the scary mark. That's all I'm saying.
I might not be showing up to camp this year.
Well, Jigsaw, you're not welcome.
That's fine.
So I do have, and it's going to be a quick one, just like this movie. I do have a Dave's Critter Corner because one of the central plots of this movie is the dog that is never in this movie, which is kind of frustrating. But there is some storying that I found about the backstory of what happened with the dog and everything. And Jaime talked about some of it, but his name is Max, apparently, a family pet that set off hell on earth, apparently, in this Barcelona apartment. Max was infected by proximity speculation, and the hints in the movie suggest either a rat or mosquitoes transmitting the virus from the supposedly sealed penthouse apartment housing two figures, an older woman and a child, both of whom we can assume were sealed in there for public safety due to the virus. And after falling ill and being taken to see a veterinarian, went on to infect the veterinarian and several of the other animals at the veterinary hospital. Prior to being taken to the vet, Max managed to infect Jennifer Carmen, the kid, either via bite or most likely by licking the girl's face, as evidenced by the sores around her mouth. Marie mentioned that Jennifer was sick with tonsillitis and that her husband, Jennifer's father, was out picking up antibiotics for this reason. However, her true infection with the zombifying virus was slow and to take effect. Angela Vidal insinuated that she suspected Max of having infected Jennifer. Gradually, Jennifer got sicker and sicker until the virus took full hold of her and she bit Marie's face, thus infecting her mother as well. So apparently the transfer to humans was through the pet who had picked it up from pests, which we know from human history is how most plagues start, is pestilence, close proximity, either food and all of that. But so draw me a map if you can, Eli. At least, and this is from the Rec Wiki, like this is part of the lore that they fleshed out behind the movie series at this point. Max is a well-known figure in the first 2 or 3 movies, like he's referenced several times. But they're talking about a virus. How does that tie back to what's going on up in the attic? Because it seems very confused. Like, are we to believe that what's happening in the attic is somebody tinkering with viruses?
What's weird is they don't really go into this, like, because like they kind of answer this in the sequels, if you remember. Like, well, I'm not counting the 3 and 4.
Okay,
I'm just gonna tell you that now.
So the sequel.
But if you kind like, they kind of explain, like, it's basically like it was like a cult and they were trying to find basically like a scientific way to spread this faster, because like it was like basically a sacrifice for like the demons like they were worshiping. And so like they basically almost like viralized demon possession kind of. Yeah. Which was and you find out like they were testing it in that attic, but like that the witch or whatever was like one of the ladies who like working on it, and then like she fucked up and like got infected herself, and then like everybody, like people around the apartment started getting infected or whatever, because like it's a shitty apartment, not a lab. So like but like this, she was sealed in the inside, so like, you know, people would figure out what she was doing and, you know, whatever. And so that's how the plot. It's like it was that was presented. So like it's weird because like that wiki's like it almost takes like the first one at face value. Yeah. But like they answer it. Mm-hmm. I mean, they go into like a bunch of weird shit with the third one, the fourth one. But like, listen, people, this is your Mulkey here. Let me just, if there's anything you've ever believed me in the 3 years we've done this show, let this be one of them. Don't watch 3 and 4. Watch Rec 1, Rec 2, and then just stop.
In Spanish, and then
in
stop.
Spanish, and just stop.
But
don't watch Quarantine. No,
I thought he was going to say that actually. Dave, when he said if there's something.
There's three things I know in this world. Horses can't look up. Babies can't walk backwards. And just watch Shrek 1 and 2. That's it. That's all I know.
This is so random, but it's about the movie. Just before we go, very random. Actually, there's no point in me saying this, but I'm going to anyway. I don't know why I like the scene, but I like the scene where she's interviewing the little girl and the mom keeps interjecting and she literally has to tell her, like, stop because we're picking up sound. We can't. First, she says, like, we can't hear you, but we can hear sounds in the back. Like, I don't know why I found that so funny. And I think it's one of those because it reads very natural. Yeah. Like, it's just she's trying to interview the girl and the mom just keeps fucking putting her 2 cents in and answering for the girl. And she's just like, just stop. And then the mom gets her face. And then when they chain the mom to the stairs, so that like it's like like that part's great too. But anyway.
Yeah, and she does go full zombie. Like she's just hanging there by her arm trying to bite people as they walk by. They're just walking around.
That was very actually when Eli said haunted house, that was very haunted house. Because she's like chained but like reaching for people and you're just like trying to do the whole I'm just gonna lean over here
by you
and walk by you.
It's also the same view of the person responsible for refilling the Golden Corral buffet line. That's the same thing they see as they're refilling it.
What?
People are like trying to bite through the hood. You know, they're trying to refill the buffet slots. I think this is also season 3. Everybody's here. I turn on Golden Corral, I think.
Turn on? Okay.
Turn on.
It's about time.
Right. Yep.
Because I have to say, you've been defending them and then you tell these stories that remind me, it's just a shit show.
Listen, I'm just saying, I'm a little hurt and offended that we're on season 3. I have not received one gift certificate. I've not received one t-shirt. They have not wined and dined me at one of their fine establishments. So, okay, well, now you're dead to me.
Oh, well, they send me like 2 emails a week asking to make official their sponsorship. And I keep telling them to go spit.
What? But you gotta let them wine and dine me first, Dave. You gotta tell them that the only way to do that is to go through the Mole King. Let them wine and dine me. Let me get my t-shirt. Let me fill up the chocolate fountain.
What would be on a Golden Corral t-shirt other than stains?
Oh,
listen, I just have to imagine the fabric that shirt is made of is the same
polyester.
One. I was going to say the same one like a wetsuit would be made out of.
I was going to say it's going to be waterproof.
A lot of stretching can be done, but there's also compression.
And it's going to leave dye on your skin once you wear it.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Oh, for sure. And also, it's one of those ones that for whatever reason, it does not cover your stomach. Like it always just rides up right above the belly button line.
Just short enough to where it doesn't cover down to the belt. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those. For sure. For sure.
So, Eli, what are we following up Rec with on the season opener of Campfire Tales?
Yeah, I thought with this, since it is about like demonic possession, in the first one here, they don't really define what demon. So I thought maybe I would present you all some of the strangest and darkest demons that you can find in lore. Some terrifying demons are in the mix. Some demons with a lot of nicknames.
I sure hope there's one on the shitter.
You know what? Believe it or not, not on the shitter, but there is a demon that's on this list that the only way to bring him forward is to sacrifice poop. So
perfect.
And his name's not Eli, in case anybody's asking.
Just gonna cut that joke off at the neck, right?
Yeah. I'm just gonna pinch that one off.
Just like you snap the neck. You just cut that joke right off.
Nope, I pinched it off.
It's not the twist, Eli. It's the pop. It's in the wrist. You got to pop the neck.
I can't tell if you're talking about pooping now or breaking a neck.
Yes.
Okay.
So thank you for listening.
Dealer's choice.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you all for listening. We do hope you've enjoyed this episode. We are really excited. I don't know if you've caught it yet. We are all in sort of the malaise of January and our energy is low, but we are genuinely really excited about making some not changes to the format of the Wicked Wild for season 3, but we did decide to do something fun. And what we're going to do this year is we're going to do host blocks of movies. So This obviously isn't one of them, although it mildly is. It is a movie that Jaime recommended to us, so we're kind of watching it, but it isn't part of her block. She is our first block of movies that's coming a little bit. So next week we're going to have one more movie that we've kind of picked off of our classic schedule, and then the following week, Jaime's going to introduce us to 4 movies that she loves that's on brand for the Wicked Wilds, and we're going to watch a few movies with Jaime. So we have that to look forward to. And then after Jaime, we have Eli, and then John, and then Jeff, and then me.
All 4 Blair Witches.
All 4 Blair Witches. Yeah.
Are
So that's why Jaime wanted to go first, because then she could just quit. And then if you enjoyed the show, we do ask you to subscribe, rate the show, leave us a comment. We do love to get the comments and the reviews as well. We've gotten some really fun feedback, and it's been very encouraging to us. If you want to learn more about us, you can visit us at our website, which is thewickedwild.com, where we have movie reviews, book reviews, a little information about each of the hosts here. We're also on social media, X/Twitter at Wicked Wild We Are, Slasher, which is the horror only community, at Wicked Wild We Are. We're on Instagram. We're not on Facebook, just Instagram at Wicked Wild Pod. And then on YouTube, if you want to see our shining faces as we talk about these movies and talk about Campfire Tales, you can just search the Wicked Wild Podcast on YouTube. And just another quick announcement that we want to make, because you never know. And if we did have the opportunity to say hi to anybody, we'd certainly love to do that. But there are a few of the hosts that are planning to actually attend a horror convention this year, and I've already got my tickets to Monster Mania, which is up in Cherry Hill, March 8th through 10th. So I'll be heading up there and getting to walk. It'll be my first horror convention. I'm really excited about it. I think we mentioned this in our year ender last year that I had never done that, and we'd like to do a few little social things throughout the year. So I think some of my hosts might be joining me up there at Monster Mania, and we're going to walk the floors. And if we see you or you see us, say hi. We'll do the same. So okay,
I won't, unless you join. You agree to pay the entry fee to join the Mole Kingdom.
Wow.
I won't say nothing to you.
I hate fraternities. I hate the concept.
It's not a fraternity. It's a social organization. If I have to pay for friendship, it's a social organization.
That's what I always said about them. If I had to pay for friendship, what the fuck am I doing?
No, the dues are used to expand the Mole Kingdom. Everyone gets their own dirt room, dirt bed. That way, when the AI takes over, we are all safe.
If you're out there and Eli tries to corner you into paying him money to be a part of his kingdom, just let me know. We have a censoring process on the podcast. We'll get it back under control. If you have any questions or thoughts or any feedback that you want to share with us, you can send me an email, podcast, podcast at thewickedwild.com. And that's all I have for our first episode of season 3. We hope you'll come back next week as we talk on Campfire Tales about some funky demonness that Eli's prepared for us. And as we always say, our recommendation to you is to get out there and get yourself lost, because it may be the only place you can find yourself. Have a good day.